As summer transitions to fall here in beautiful sunny New England, we still have some fantastic afternoons remaining. Today promises to be one of them here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network as the defending Little East Conference champions, your UMass Boston Beacons, get set to kick off their LEC slate. That's against the Western Connecticut State Colonials, and that's up next, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network after this break. Welcome back to the Beacons Broadcasting Network. I am John Skudras, excited to have this, the Little East Conference opener, as UMass Boston gets set to take on Western Connecticut State. For WestCon, it's been a fantastic start to the campaign. After losing their season opener, the Colonials won 8 consecutive matches prior to last night's road defeat in Rhode Island at Salve Regina. They'll have to really temper that hangover, as less than 12 hours later, they're right back at it to begin the Little East Conference slate. In that loss yesterday, number 13, senior Carissa Smith had 26 kills, a match high. She'll be somebody to keep an eye on for WestCon. For UMass Boston, it's been a spectacular start. Winners of 7 of their first 8. The Beacons have been led by some young up-and-comers as well as familiar senior leadership in the form of Julia Murphy. Murphy is just 5 solo stops away from tying a program record in that category. We'll keep an eye on that today and, of course, all throughout the remainder of the 2016 season. Our player to watch today is a sophomore from San Francisco. As cool as the Pacific sunset, Eileen Shee has taken the bull by the horns here in Beaconville. She has been outstanding all season long and for her career. Eileen, in a win on Wednesday over Brandeis, had 14 kills and 4 digs. She was the 2015 LEC Rookie of the Year, and the sophomore in her career has been a Colonial killer. In 2 matches against WestCon, she has 22 kills, 17 digs, and 2 aces. These 2 teams obviously familiar foes, being both in the LEC. Let's take a look at the all-time matchup between these 2 hated rivals. While Western Connecticut State, as you can see, does lead 17-11, UMass Boston has been taking it to the Colonials of late, having triumphed in 11 of their last 12. The last time these 2 teams met, almost a year ago today, on November the 5th, 2015, the Beacons were able to triumph 3-0 over their rivals from the Nutmeg State. And, of course, the last win for WestCon came 2 years ago on November 8th, 2014, by a 3-1 margin. These 2 teams are familiar foes and, of course, familiar competitors from last year as well. They met up in the 2015 Little East Conference semifinal of that conference tournament. Let's take a look at highlights of that UMass Boston 3-0 victory.
Play Rhode Island College. They got this big athletic black.
So UMass Boston, a familiar foe today here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Welcome you back into the broadcasting booth. I am John Skudras. As we mentioned earlier on the pregame show here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network, UMass, in their first 8 matches of this season, have been absolutely outstanding, carrying the momentum from their 2015-16 Little East Conference Championship season. 7 victories, 5 of them in straight 3-zip sets, has Beaconville thinking postseason yet again. Of course, the last time out, the Beacons took off the kid gloves, pounding Brandeis in straight sets by a combined score of 75-29. The Beacons were led by Eileen Shee, our player to watch, as well as senior superstar libero Elizabeth Glavin. She's already considered one of the best defenders UMass has ever seen, as she continued her swan song campaign with an invigorating 11 digs in that victory. Freshman Melanie Fida also contributed defensively with 10 digs of her own, a career high for the native of Park Ridge, Illinois. As we continue along, let's take a look at the statistical outlook for these two squads as they begin the Little East Conference matchup here in the 2016 season. You look on the year, the Beacons and the Colonials very even offensively when it comes to kills per sets as well as assists per sets, in fact right on the nose of 11.5. Defensively, even keeled as well, 16.4 digs to 16.9 for the Colonials. The Beacons, however, a little bit more stout up front as they have gotten just over 1.5 blocks per game compared to less than 1 per game for the more diminutive Colonials. We look at the individual team leaders for these squads. You saw the team stats. Let's take a look at who's leading the way. Colleen Cohen has come on strong as she has had to, as she matures with age and picks up a little bit more responsibility here for Terry Condon's club. She has 65 kills to lead the way. Meanwhile, you see Pepper Baker, 144 assists. Somehow, she does not lead the way in aces this year. She has been absolutely outstanding, but this year it is a very, very game competitor in Christina Elliott, the native of Camas, Washington, as she leads the way with 16 aces for the UMass Boston Beacons. Let's take a peek at WestCon head coach Don Ferguson as we take a look at him here on the pregame show. Coach Ferguson, in his 6th season, he was the 2014 Little East Conference Tournament champion as a head coach of Western Connecticut State. His overall record of 178 and 206 is made less impressive despite his spectacular record with WestCon at 121 and 56. For the UMass Boston Beacons, a familiar face on the bench as the Beacons will turn to Terry Condon. Condon, in her 12th season, is an AVCA Hall of Fame inductee. She's 236 and 122 on Beaconville and 428 and 235 overall, as Terry Condon and her assistant coach Mike Houlihan in his 4th season, along with fellow assistants Kate Carlson, Shannon Thompson, and Kirsten Morrison, look to get the LEC slate off on the right track as the Beacons at 7-1 take on the Colonials of WestCon at 8-2. Let's take a look at those Western Connecticut State University starters. And then the Beacon starters right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. For WestCon, Danielle Kaminsky is the setter. She starts off the match. Jenna Scarrett also in there in the back end. Bailey Wybreck is the libero. The outside hitters are Alyssa Dam, Carissa Smith, who we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, 26 kills last night in the loss to Salve Regina. Jacqueline Canuck and Katie Cordes are also outside hitters starting for Don Ferguson's club. Let's take a look at the UMass Boston Beacon starters as they introduce themselves.
Colin Cohen from Centerville, Massachusetts, senior outside hitter.
Hi, I'm Julia Murphy. I'm a senior middle hitter from Canton, Massachusetts.
Hi, I'm Christina Elliott. I'm a sophomore setter from Camas, Washington.
Hi, I'm Melanie Fida. I'm a freshman right side hitter from Chicago, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Eileen Shee. I'm a sophomore outside hitter from San Francisco, California.
I'm Elizabeth Glavin, senior libero from Edina, Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Sarah Doyle, a freshman middle blocker from Glendale, California.
Sarah Doyle, somebody we have not yet mentioned on the pregame, but we will over the course of the play-by-play. She has been outstanding here this season for UMass Boston. Her freshman campaign for the native of Glendale, she is a defensive stalwart. A reminder for all your Beacons athletics action to check out at UMass Beacons on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. It's another year, but the same old Beacons coverage right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. We're going to kick to a break now, the last one of the pregame show. When we come back, we will have the opening service of this, the 2016-17 Little East Conference opener between Western Connecticut State and UMass Boston, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
John Scudras back with you here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Just a couple more minutes until opening service. Let's take a look at the keys to the game for the UMass Boston Beacons as they take on a very game foe in the Western Connecticut State Colonials. Building off momentum will be key. The Beacons, of course, have won 7 of their first 8 this season. Their only loss was a non-conference matchup against Christopher Newport, in which they were shut down 3-0. But I mentioned the momentum of their last 3 triumphs against Suffolk, Brandeis, and Houston University. 9-0 in sets over the course of those 3 matches. In their last victory over Brandeis, 75-29 combined margin between the 3 sets, all won by UMass Boston. They have been outstanding, and they have piled on their opponents. They need to continue to do that today. They also need to dominate the middle. Veteran like Julia Murphy, as well as a young freshman like Sarah Doyle, they are going to be key defensively. Elizabeth Glavin contributing as the libero as well. If the Beacons are going to win today, they're going to need to keep up that defensive intensity that has led them to 7 victories in their first 8 matches. And of course, as is always the case in any sporting event, especially when you're playing perhaps your toughest competition in the conference, taking control early is key, especially when you consider the fact that Western Connecticut State just had to play a 5-set match less than 24 hours ago at Salve Regina. They then had to make the trip right up here to UMass Boston and now have to take on one of the best teams in the country at the D3 level in Elizabeth Glavin and the Beacons. Of course, when we went into play this weekend, we thought that this might be a matchup of 2 one-loss foes. WestCon falling yesterday in a great matchup. But you know what? They may not be, as Frank the Tank said, streaking, but they are certainly on fire to begin the campaign with 7 victories in their first 9, and they will look to keep that momentum rolling against UMass Boston. In their last victory, WestCon triumphed over Trinity 3-0 on Tuesday. The Colonials were led by Danielle Kaminsky, who had 28 aces to lead the match. That is almost unthinkable at this level. Of course, we already mentioned Carissa Smith. The Bristol, Connecticut native led the way with 13 kills in that one, followed by a 26-kill performance in last night's defeat. That makes her team leading total for 2016 148 kills in just 10 games. It's time for the national anthem here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network, so we will step aside. When we come back, we'll have the opening service, UMass Boston and Western Connecticut State, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Melanie Fida introduced by the PA announcer here from Clark Athletic Center Gymnasium. I am John Scudris back here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. The Beacons and the Colonials getting introduced, their starting lineups at least, as they get set for what should be an outstanding Saturday afternoon affair here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. And we are glad that you have joined us. You just saw around Beaconville our look at the other matches. We'll have updates on that all throughout the day, but for now, let's pause for our national anthem as we honor those who have fallen for our freedoms and for the grace of our country. John Scudris back here in the broadcasting booth. Very excited to have you with us as UMass Boston gets set to defend their 2015 Little East Conference title. They bring back a lot of the same players they had a year ago, some new faces, including Sarah Doyle, who at 6'2" has been an outstanding hitter, and she is a defensive presence to be reckoned with as UMass Boston begins with a familiar starting lineup. As they get set, Colleen Cohen out there. She'll be up front, along with the aforementioned Sarah Doyle and Eileen Shee. In the middle, it will be Christina Elliott to begin this affair. And in the back, to begin this one, it's going to be Melanie Fida, as well as Julia Murphy, two of the finest defensive players in this conference. Meanwhile, the visitors from the Nutmeg State will counter with a lineup that they think is going to have more rest than they did earlier on this season, despite having a big matchup yesterday. They're going to shuffle in some fresh faces. To begin this one, Jenna Scarrett out there with Bailey Weyerbeck. Number 21, Jacqueline Canuck as well. Number 22, Katie Cordes. And, of course, Carissa Smith, number 13 up front. She's the one to keep an eye on, as she had 26 kills, a match high, yesterday in the 3-2 defeat at the hands of Salve Regina. Once again, this is the Beacons Broadcasting Network on LittleEast.tv. I am John Skudras. Christina Elliott getting set to set this one up with the opening service. And Christina will lift this one up towards the heavens and pound it over as we get a set up for Smith to spike it down, but a good dig there by Glavin. What else is new as the overhand spike there is denied on a good dig from the initial attempt by Fida. Glavin, a set here for She, and she knocks this one out of bounds. Eileen perhaps off the side of her wrist, as that will result in an early point for the visiting Western Connecticut Colonials. So an error there by She. And now first service for WestCon. We'll see number 22, Katie Cortez, a native of Fallon, Nevada. And a good spike there by Colleen Cohen as she hammers this one between the trees. And that evens things up 1-1, just underway here in the first set of play. So Eileen She will get the opportunity for service as she sends this one far to the back. Cortez keeps it alive, but an even better play up front there from Doyle as both She and Cohen rose above the netting to pound that one down. It's 2-1 UMass Boston. She with her second consecutive service, dug out there by Cortez, kept alive and fisted over on the third touch. Meanwhile, setting up Doyle was Elliott, but it looks like a net foul as the Beacons did make contact with that netting on their side. So service will head on over as we are evened up at 2. First chance for Danielle Kaminsky, a senior from Southington, Connecticut. Serve from Kaminsky, dug out there by She. An opportunity for Doyle denied up front. A good solo stop there by Smith. Meanwhile, keeping this one alive for Smith is her partner in crime, but a great block up front by Fida. And eventually this one with a no-look behind the back bump. And that one is going to go out of bounds for an error on WestCon. So the Beacons reclaim the lead, 3-2. Here early on in set number 1, Elizabeth Glavin will get her first opportunity to serve. And Elizabeth with the open palm service as this one's set up here for number 6. That's Kamari King, fresh into the game. However, Kamari unable to get that one over the netting, and the trees up front in the form of Murphy and Cohen. And it's a point for UMass Boston. It's 4-2 Beacons. Second straight service by Glavin, and just an unforced error by Cortez as the 6-foot senior took her eye off the ball, and that is an ace for the senior from Minnesota, Elizabeth Glavin. Dug out there by Smith. The set here for the spike attempt there by number 6, Kamari King. Dug out by Glavin. And a beautiful attempt by Cohen, and they say it is, in fact, inbounds. So a great spike there from Colleen Cohen as the senior from Centerville, Massachusetts, and former transfer product puts UMass Boston up 6-2. We have a timeout on the court with the score. The Beacons 6, the Colonials 2, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
So we mentioned as one of the keys to the game, it would be, of course, getting off to a solid start. And UMass Boston has done just that as they are out in front 6-2 on a team that might be a little fatigued after having to play 5 sets down in Rhode Island against Salve Regina last night. Glavin with another opportunity to serve. Overhand service, dug out there on a smart play. Set up here for King, but a great block up front there by Fida as she was joined by Murphy. And then that attempt is inbounds. It looks like a phenomenal spike by number 7, Bailey Weyerbeck, as she will take a seat. Good for Bailey. 6-3 now as service transitions to Kayla Smith. Smith with the overhand service, dug out by Glavin, kept alive by Murphy, and now Elliott's going to send this one towards Fida. Melanie with the spike towards the far side, dug out there by Elliott. Glavin set, Fida spike delivered! A beautiful setup by Elizabeth Glavin and an even prettier finish for Melanie Fida as number 10 in black, the freshman from Park Ridge, Illinois, continues her spectacular start to her Beacons career. It's 7-3 UMass Boston. So here's Pepper Baker, one of the best that this program has seen when it comes to the service area. Pepper gets this one over on her first attempt of the day, and a spike attempt is blocked down in front by Fida, and unable to handle it there was Alyssa Dam, as the Beacons extend their lead to 8-3 here in set one. After a spectacular start, UMass will look to turn the dagger. Service from Baker, and an error there for Pepper. She knew it. As she's going to be a little salty on that one as she'll turn this one over to the visitors from the Nutmeg State. As the Danbury, Connecticut natives send this one over, and a good effort in midair by Murphy, a transition, and that results in a UMass Boston point. Murphy was crossed up in midair off the set there, I believe. It came from Alex Gibbs, who gives Julia a high five. And Julia was able to adjust in midair and send that one over the netting for the 9th point of this set. Here's an opportunity for a spike, but a little bit too much mustard from Jacqueline Canuck as the new Fairfield, Connecticut native sees her team in a 10-4 first set deficit. Here is Fida, Melanie overhand service with the left hand, as that one was awkwardly played, but able to keep it alive there, and a good effort was Cortez. However, this one blocked down off the spike attempt from She. Set up here for Glavin. Glavin to Gibbs. Good spike off the hands of the libero Weyerbeck. And Alex Gibbs delivers. The junior from Fair Oaks Ranch, Texas, gets on the board. It's her first kill of the afternoon. It's 11-4, UMass Boston. Good service from Fida, deceptively weak, as she set that one right up in front of number 6, Kamari King. And we have another timeout for Don Ferguson and the Colonials. Well, we said in the keys to the games that it was going to be critical for the Beacons to get off to a good start. They've tripled up their opponents from Danbury, 12-4, here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. Let's go to a break. When we come back, we'll have the conclusion of this, the first set of play, right here on the BBN.
UMass Boston is my first choice because of the incredible theater department.
Because it has an excellent honors college.
Because here I get to interact with professors one-on-one.
Because I'm not going to be crazy in debt when I graduate.
Because at UMass Boston, I've met professors who have changed my life.
My first choice.
My first choice.
My first choice.
My first choice.
Make the University of Massachusetts Boston your first choice. Visit UMB.
So after the service there from Fida, UMass Boston continues their streak of scores as they get another beautiful effort up front from Gibbs and She, as the duo in front delivers. This one off the tip of the netting, but it stays alive from Fida's third consecutive service. And what a stop up front there from Murphy. She came into this one needing 5 solo stops to get a share of the program record in that category, as she nears closer here in the first set, and this time Carissa Smith couldn't handle it as Melanie Fida, someone get her an ice pack because she is on fire. That is 6 consecutive points from the service area with Fida there for UMass Boston. This time she deadens it in front again, and UMass Boston delivers their 16th point of this first set as the Beacons have taken control of this affair here early on. We're going to get a stoppage here and a substitution. King will take a seat for Jenna Scarrett, the Walcott, Connecticut native, number 3 in blue. She did begin this game in the starting lineup. This one's set up for a soft lob over the netting by Cortez. And then there's a ferocious spike from She, but the San Francisco native was denied by Carissa Smith. There's a spike from Fida. Good effort to dig that one out by Kaminsky. Smith able to set up Cortez, and the Beacons will try to send it to She. She drops it right in between the trees as it's 17-4. Another kill for number 11 in black as the San Francisco native is cool as a cucumber here on a balmy Saturday afternoon in Boston, Massachusetts. Dug out there by She after Fida's 7th consecutive service. The Beacons are streaking like Frank the Tank here in the first set. As up 17-4, they'll look to finish this one off without much of a sweat, and there's a beautiful effort from Murphy just to finger tap that one over the netting after Smith's opportunity to spike it goes for naught on the dig by Fida. Here is Melanie to set up Pepper Baker with a soft deflection, but she went over the netting, and that's a foul on UMass Boston. So finally the streak has subsided, 17-5. The Beacons had a 9-4 lead. They put up 8 consecutive points, and now here they lead by 12. As getting the service here is Jenna Scarrett. However, just like that, an error on the service for Western Connecticut State. The Beacons get the ball back, and of course, their 18th point of the set. It'll be Julia Murphy to serve this one. Julia, obviously one of the most decorated players in program history. Coming into the match, she needed just 6 kills to get to 1,000 for her career. As that one is going to be an ace for Julia Murphy as she sends that one in between both Smith and Weyerbeck. And that leads to a 19-5 lead for UMass Boston. Murphy on her second consecutive attempt from the service area, dug out by Weyerbeck. The libero sees Smith get it to Scarrett. Jenna sees Fira get this one over the netting by way of Doyle. And now Carissa Smith blocked out in front by Doyle. Sarah continuing to use every inch of that 6'2 frame to play stout defense for Terry Condon's club. And she sets up Eileen Shee to pound it home for the kill as she delivers off the deflection off a Western Connecticut Colonial. That trickled out of bounds. It's 20-5, Beacons out in front. Service from Murphy, and there's an error there from Julia. She knew it, and now she'll head to the bench. Spelling her for the moment will be the star libero, Elizabeth Glavin. The liberos on each team are, of course, wearing different colors than the rest of their teammates. As right now it's Glavin making contact with it, wearing the green kit. As Scarrett digs this one out, a setup here for Cortez, and a great effort by Glavin to keep it alive with the dive to her far side. There's a spike from Smith, and one of the best in the conference is denied by her counterpart in Glavin, and Eileen Shee does it again. The San Francisco treat, Eileen Shee, as she pounds this one in for the kill. It's 21-6, UMass Boston. So Christina Elliott will come on in. She'll give Pepper Baker a breath, and Christina actually began this match on the first service. This one dug out there smartly by Cortez, and eventually it does result in a deflection off of UMass Boston, so a point here for the Colonials. Getting an opportunity to take a breather was the libero Weyerbeck. She's the only one in white for the Colonials. Alyssa Dam will spell her. Here in the latter portions of the first set, that was a great effort there by Doyle across her body to spike it home. Smith's spike attempt is denied there by Glavin, and now here Cohen with a vengeance, but unable to get it by the defensive stalwart Scarrett. And then there is Carissa Smith doing what she does best, finally able to find the hole between the defense in the back, and between both Glavin and Elliott, she finds the 8th point of the set for the Colonials. Cortez service is dug out by Glavin as they'll set up Cohen with a deceptive soft touch move over the net, but it's off the mark. Glavin able to set it up for Shee, and she delivers yet again, deflected off of Carissa Smith, I believe, out front. And UMass Boston's Eileen Shee will head to the service area, and for good reason. She has been the MVP of this first set. As our player to watch is living up to it, it's 22-8. Weyerbeck digs this one out, set up there for Scarrett, and then the attempt to spike from Dam. Now here is Cortez. Great dig from Shee. Set here from Glavin. Spike attempt, and UMass Boston doing it with teamwork as Elliott, by way of Glavin and Shee, have put the Beacons up by 15. It's 23-8. Shee a little bit low. No arc on that service attempt, but even better defense up front, but unfortunately it looks like the Beacons made contact with the netting, so a point to the Colonials as Kamari King will step back in for Jenna Scarrett. Kamari, an East Hartford, Connecticut native, standing at 5'10" tall. Fida digs this one at. Elliott sets up Cohen, and a tough dig attempt from Cortez ate her alive. as she is unable to send this one over the net. And the Beacons have a set point here, up 24-9, an opportunity to get the victory here in the first set. Exactly what you're looking for when taking on a team that played less than 12 hours ago. Meanwhile, Smith will dig out that service attempt from Glavin. Elizabeth sets up an opportunity. Murphy whiffed on it, and then Colleen Cohen tried to pick up the slack, but she was unable to regain the composure and send that one over, so it's now 24-10. At the end of this set, we will go to a break, but then we'll come back with first set highlights and a look at the Little East Conference scoreboard. As there's a beautiful spike from Murphy by way of Fida, and the Beacons have won set number 1 by the score of 25-10. So the Beacons won last time out against Brandeis in 3 sets by a combined score of 75-29. They're just about on pace to equal that margin here in this Saturday afternoon's outstanding matchup between the 8-2 Western Connecticut State Colonials and your 7-1 UMass Boston Beacons. Let's go to a break between sets. When we come back, we'll have first set highlights and a look around the Beaconville scoreboard. It's 1-0, UMass Boston, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris. The subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university.
As a native of Fallon, Nevada, and a good spike there here for Glavin. Glavin to Gibbs, good spike in that category as she nears closer here in the first set. Every inch of that 6'2" frame to play. Stout defense for Terry. First service. This one dug out there smartly by Cortez. An event highlights and a look at the Little East Conference scoreboard. As there's a beautiful. So the Beacons dominating as we had hoped early on. We're about 90 seconds from the second set beginning. While we have time, let's take a look at the Little East Conference scoreboard. We're looking at around Beaconville. We'll do Little East Conference next set. The Beacons' fellow athletic squads in action today. The men's soccer team looking to defend their spectacular season a year ago. And I see we're spelling soccer with one C nowadays. It's 1-0 over the Plymouth State Panthers in the second half. The women's soccer team, well, they can spell there. It's no score as that one will get underway at 2 p.m. Meanwhile, women's tennis is taking on Worcester State. That one this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So the two squads have taken the court as we transition back into live action. I am John Skudrisk, and UMass Boston having won 7 of their first 8, 5 of which were by straight 3-0 sweeps. As the two squads switch sides, the Beacons coming on out here with the same lineup it looks like. Elliott, Shee, Cohen, Doyle, Fida, and Murphy. Meanwhile, the visitors from Danbury, Connecticut, the Colonials, will counter with Skerritt, Dam, Cortez, Canuck, as well as Kaminsky and Carissa Smith. So the same lineups out there as now Murphy will take a seat for the time being for Elizabeth Glavin as the Beacons get their defensive specialist out there. It'll be Jacqueline Canuck, a senior from New Fairfield, Connecticut, to begin the second set. Beacons won the first set 25-10 as this one's sent over and dug out by Shee. Elliott will set Eileen up for a spike, but just a bit too much mustard on that hot dog as it will sail to the near side out of bounds. And a good beginning to the second set here for the visiting Colonials as they lead it 1-0. So Canuck again, as this service is dug out here by Fida. A little bit too much on that, and that's going to be a recipe for disaster as she teed that one up for the powerful right hand of Carissa Smith, who sent this one between Glavin and she, and it's 2-0 to begin set number 2. Canuck sees her service dug out by Fida. Fida sees Elliott set up she, and that one eats alive the libero for the visitors, Bailey Weyerbeck, as the freshman from Bristol showed her inexperience there, letting the ball play her, as it just lifted way too far up the forearm for her to make any solid contact, and it's 2-1 as she will get her first service. Eileen sees Weyerbeck dig this one out, sent back over there by Cortez. And now Cohen with the powerful spike, and UMass Boston, unfortunately, we'll see who they give the point to. They will give it to the Beacons. They're going to say deflected. It took the referees on both the near side and the far side a moment's pause to make a final determination on that. I don't think Don Ferguson liked the call, but the head coach for the Colonials will have to bite his tongue. It's 2-2 as she sends this one over, and a quick send back right in the face of the defense from Sarah Doyle as the freshman from Glendale, California, one of the many California natives who have brought their talents east. For Terry Condon continues to excel. Meanwhile, one of those California sophomores is Eileen Shee. She just committed an error there on the service. So now 3-3 with service coming back to Cortez. Katie sends it over, dug out there by Doyle. Elliott sets up Glavin. She's got to get it over. Good job. Dug out by Cortez. Far side here for Smith, and a great block in front by UMass Boston. Somehow kept alive in front of the netting there. I believe that was by Alyssa Dam, and that allows Carissa Smith another opportunity, but a good block there by Elliott. Cohen delivers with a spike on the near side as she hammers it home, and UMass Boston breaks the tie. It's 4-3 Beacons here in set number 2. So Colleen Cohen, who had her moments last year, especially late in the campaign, but as a transfer student, she was more or less just getting acclimated to the program. Well, she has come through with a vengeance to begin this campaign, as you see Smith send this one way out of bounds, a little bit too much on that, and the Beacons will maintain service. They lead it 5-3. Glavin getting barking orders from her assistant coach, Mike Houlihan, as she sends this one near side, dug out by Cortez. Cohen had issues with that one, and after she initially sent it into the net, she kind of just took her aggression out on the ball, pounding it back into the net from whence it came. Now it's 5-4. And we'll have a substitution as Kamari King will re-enter here for the Colonials. And a beautiful effort there from Smith to just drop it over like a teardrop, but an even better play up front from Fida. We'll see Colleen Cohen deliver again for UMass Boston, her third kill of the set, as she will get an opportunity to rest her legs, replaced out there by Alex Gibbs. Pepper Baker also into this one, as Christina Elliott will get her first chance to catch a breath here in the second set. And UMass Boston leading now 6-4, already up 1-0 in this best-of-5 matchup. Baker's second service of this one is sent back from whence it came by Dam, and that one comes out of bounds. A little bit too much on it from Alyssa. And after the Beacons fell behind 2-0 to begin this set, they have scored 7 of the last 9 and lead it 7-4. Here is Pepper Baker as she sends it over, dug out there by Smith. Far side for Kamari King, but she is denied by Glavin. Pepper sets up Gibbs. Good dig there by Cortez. Far side for Smith, and an even better defensive play there by Glavin. And another one by Fida from the set attempt there from Smith. And Glavin keeps it alive, and a great effort made there by Alex Gibbs. Or rather, it looks like that was Eileen Shee, but Eileen unable to keep it alive, and it's now 7-5 here in set number 2. Of course, remember, folks, you can check out all of your UMass Boston athletics action on our social media venues at UMass Beacons on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. You see the logo there. Check it out. Highlights of this match will be posted on both YouTube and beaconsathletics.com after today's affair. Beacons leading 8-5 as Fida's service is sent back over UMass Boston's way, and Murphy pounds this one home between the trees, and as Cortez tries to get down, she can't dig it out. UMass Boston's lead extended to 9-5. So here's Fida again. In that first set, Melanie was key to victory as she's unable to get this one over. It's an error on Melanie Fida. Now she'll get a chance to catch her breath, and for the first time today, we'll say hello to Michaela Kianco. Number 15 in black, a junior from Clearwater, Florida. Spring training home of the Philadelphia Phillies, as that one is sent right in between the defense of Smith and Weyerbeck. And that extends UMass Boston's lead to 10-6. I was down in Clearwater about 4 years ago now. Beautiful area right next to St. Petersburg and Tampa. As that error on UMass Boston, we'll see a substitution. It looks like they're going to send in Pepper Baker as well as Alex Gibbs up front, along with Sarah Doyle, who just entered for Murphy. This one dug out by Kianco, kept alive by Cortez. Far side by way of Skerritt, but this one is sent far and away. That looked out of bounds to me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why Western Connecticut State is, well, now the referee changes his mind and says it was deflected. It looked like it was clearly too far and out of bounds, but the referee, after initially claiming it was Beacon's point and service, did change his mind. It's now 10-8, as this one is a fault and an error on UMass Boston. So from 10-4 now to 10-9, as Skerritt will line up for another serve. Jenna sends it to the far side, and giving up the body again is Elizabeth Glavin, but Gibbs goes way outside the allotted area and the safe zone, as we are now evened up 10-10. With the second set continuing, Terry Condon and Mike Houlihan want an explanation on that call as to why the whistle was blown so early, I would believe, but they're not going to really get much of anything, and now they're going to get a timeout on the court. So the Beacons, who won 25-10 in set one to take a 1-0 lead, have their hands full here in set number 2. It's Western Connecticut State 10, UMass Boston 10, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Go Beacons! Let's go Beacons! Let's go Beacons!
Come on, Jake!
As usual, she wins it. A chance in front. Her shot is in the net. Crystal Layden, yet another goal.
Please make a gift to the Beacon Athletic Fund today. We want you on our team.
John Skudras back in the broadcasting booth. Beacons in a much tighter affair here in the second set after winning 25-10 in set one. And you thought that might be the case against a team in WestCon who had to be feeling it a little bit in the legs, having played 5 sets against Salve Regina last night, then having to take a bus right back up here to Massachusetts. So with this 10-10, Elizabeth Glavin getting having a discussion with one of the referees on the near side. In that first set, Eileen Shee led the way with 4 kills for UMass Boston. Carissa Smith had all 4 kills for the visitors from WestCon in that first set. Meanwhile, this one kept alive here by Glavin, and then Eileen Shee sends it down, dropped to her knees, did Skerritt to make the dig, and for UMass Boston, who else up front? Sarah Doyle getting it done again, and we'll have another substitution as Elliott and Cohen will spell Pepper Baker and Alex Gibbs. Beacons were led in assists by Christina Elliott. She had 5 in that first set. And Melanie Fida had 3 aces, all coming consecutively as part of what was 8 consecutive serves from Fida in that first set. Right now, Beacons leading 11-10 here in set 2, as this is dug out by Smith and sent far side for Kaminsky. Good play by Glavin, and an even better play by number 22, Cortez, just to keep it off the ground, but unable to get it over legally there was Kaminsky. And now with the Beacons leading 12-10, Elliott will get another opportunity from the service area. Ooh, and unfortunately for Christina, she sends that one far and outside, out of the legal area of play. And so the sophomore from the state of Washington is unable to keep the Beacons' run going. As now we'll get an opportunity for the service from Canuck as Jacqueline sends it over, dug out there by Glavin, set up by Elliott, and a good tap by Doyle. Sarah Doyle, spectacular chemistry with her teammates up front. It didn't take long to develop that, and as Kianko takes a seat, she is replaced by Fida, and the Beacons have re-extended their lead to 2, 13-11. Eileen Shee is set to go. She gets the go-ahead from the referees as she sends this one near side. Kept alive there by Cortez, and now Kaminsky sends it over. Dug out by Glavin, set up for Doyle. What a beautiful spike from Sarah Doyle. 2 consecutive kills for the Beacons tree up front as she and Christina Elliott continue to dazzle for the Beacons in the net mouth. So after she second consecutive service, here is Elliott setting it up for Cohen. Ooh, tried to go with a deceptive soft tap over the net, but unable to keep it alive once it was sent back the Beacons' way was Fida. And it's now 14-12, a 2-point deficit yet again here in set number 2. Dug out off the service there from Cortez, and Cohen rising up amongst the top of the netting on that spike attempt, denied, and now Fida sends it far side. Kaminsky to Smith. Smith, no look, overhand sent towards Doyle to spike this one in, and who else but Sarah Doyle continuing her torrential, tyrannical tear here in the second set. She'll get an opportunity to take a seat and catch her breath, but she extends the Beacons' lead to 15-12 here in set number 2. Glavin's service kept alive by Weyerbeck, and the Beacons now able to set things up here for Fida. Good dig there by Cortez. Kaminsky sent it over the Beacons' way, and a beautiful spike from Colleen Cohen as the senior continues to dazzle on the near side net mouth as she extends the Beacons' lead to 4. Glavin's service dug out by Weyerbeck. Kaminsky sends it towards Smith and out of bounds as UMass Boston gets the break there. Smith tried to send it far side where the Beacons setters were not waiting, and it was all for naught as the score is now 17-12. We have a timeout, UMass Boston, here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. When we come back, the exciting conclusion of this second set. It's UMass Boston 17, Western Connecticut State 12, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
So we're back here from Clark Athletic Center Gymnasium. Glavin set to serve off the timeout, and it was a beauty as Cortez could only barely keep it alive for the moment, but a great play up front from Murphy, and the Beacons extend their lead to 6. As mentioned in the pregame broadcast, Beacons having won 7 of their first 8, but the even more impressive statistic is that 5 of those victories have been via shutout, as a deflection here results in a point for Carissa Smith and the Colonials. It's 18-13. Weyerbeck will take a seat, as will Skerritt. King is now out there, along with Jacqueline Canuck. As this service there by Kaminsky is a beautiful play made by Smith up front. She just drops it right in front of Cohen, who tried to use her feet to keep it alive. Was unable to do so, and it's now 18-14. So out of the timeout, the Colonials perhaps regaining some of their capability, as here's Cohen pounding this one off the hands of King. Good effort to keep it alive, and an even better play to send it over there by Canuck. Meanwhile, Cortez sends it towards Kaminsky. Smith to spike it home, but a good dig there by Glavin. Ooh, and getting crossed up there were Fida and Elliott, as I think both thought the other was going to get it, and in the end it ends up resulting in another point here for the visiting Colonials. It's 18-15. Dug out there by Shee, and Fida pounds it home. Weyerbeck couldn't contain it, and the freshman was unable to set that one up and dig it out. It's now 19-15. Pepper Baker in the game, as is Alex Gibbs, spelling Elliott and Cohen. And with UMass Boston leading 19-15 here in set 2, Pepper Baker will look to spice things up a bit here and get the Beacons their 20th point of the set. Here's a nice service from Pepper, kept alive there from Smith. Kaminsky finds King. King pounds it over, dug out by Shee, by way towards Gibbs. And a point for UMass Boston as a foul there on Cortez. And the Beacons have extended their lead 20-15, excuse me. So Baker yet again sends this one over, dug out by Smith. It crossed up Kaminsky, but oh, what a beautiful setup for Carissa Smith, who sent it right into the corner to the right of Shee and the left of Baker. And UMass Boston's deficit trimmed to 4 as Smith will now get an opportunity to serve. And she sends that one a little bit too far. It's not her strength. Her strength is that aggressive offense up front. And this time it does backfire, 21-16, as Fida, who's been outstanding in the service area today, will get another chance. There's a chance for Canuck and a deflection off the hand of Gibbs, and that will result in a point here for the Colonials. Weyerbeck back in, and she'll be the one who gets a chance to serve. Meanwhile, Fida will take a seat for Kianko. And up 21-17, the Beacons will see Weyerbeck send this one over. Fresh off the bench, Kianko sets it up. Murphy pounds it home by way of Pepper Baker, and it's another point for UMass Boston, 22-17. Beacons in front as a timeout here called by Cortez and the Colonials. So we are coming towards the end of an exciting second set of play. Beacons looking to take a commanding 2-0 lead. They lead 22-17 right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity. There's a lot of people. Here there is a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, so it's so much better to have like an advisor helping you out, like telling you which classes to choose.
So coming out of the timeout by the Colonials, Murphy sends this one far side, and way too much on that one off the right hand of number 21, Jacqueline Canuck, as Murphy will set up for another opportunity. Beacons just 2 points away from a 2-0 lead here in this match, as this one's set up for King, dug out there by Kianko. Pepper Baker sets up Eileen Shee to send it home as she continues to dominate the LEC in just over 1 year here in Beaconville. She has made quite a niche for herself as an offensive catalyst with playmaking ability. And that one comes off the front of the netting as a set point there. Goes all for naught as Murphy takes a seat for Glavin. Beacon still with an opportunity to win this set on this play as they are ahead 24-18. Jenna Scarrett will get an opportunity to serve for the Colonials as this one is dug out there by Kianko. Pepper sets up Doyle, and it's in there for UMass Boston. And the Beacons have taken a commanding 2-0 lead with a 25-18 victory here in set number 2 over the Western Connecticut State Colonials. If the Beacons win set 3, we are all set here from Beaconville, and it would be their 6th sweep in 8 victories this year. Still a lot of volleyball left to play here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. We're glad that you've tuned in to join us. When we come back, we'll have highlights of set number 2 right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
Nook again as this service is dug out here by Fida. A little bit too much on that, and that's out by Fida. Fida sees Elliott set up. And that one eats. Bite his tongue. It's 2-2 as she sends this one over. And a quick set here for the Colonials. And a beautiful effort there from Smith to just drop it over like a teardrop, but an even better play for UMass Boston athletics action on our social media venues, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. You see the logo there. Check it out. Highlights of this match will be posted on both YouTube and beaconsathletics.com for the Colonials as this one is dug out there by Kianko. Pepper sets up. So as you saw the second set highlights, a much closer match than in set 1. UMass Boston winning set 1 by a final of 25-10. They take set 2 in this one by the final of 25-18. So the Beacons trending downward in that second set, but still up 2-0, looking for their 6th sweep in 8 victories. Let's take a look at the Little East Conference scoreboard here on the intermission report. You see Southern Maine defeating Rick 3-0 in straight sets earlier today. UMass Dartmouth is just about done with their opponent, Keene State, as they trail the Owls 3-0. And Plymouth State and Eastern Connecticut State are just getting underway from EastCon. It is a packed Little East Conference slate as it looks like 10 games today. Every single one of the Little East Conference competitors are playing. Not all playing each other, obviously, as this weekend will be a hectic one, not only for volleyball, but for the rest of the sports for UMass Boston. We showed you that around Beaconville look. The top 20 ranked men's soccer team taking on the Panthers of Plymouth State. That's a rematch of last year's LEC semifinal, a 2-0 victory for UMass Boston. Men's soccer team is 5-0-0 and has reached their highest ever point in the national ranks as the two-time defending LEC champions begin their title defense with a conference battle against Plymouth State. As always, a reminder that this is the Beacons Broadcasting Network on LittleEast.tv. I am John Scudris. You see there on your screen, these two teams have won 12 of the last 20 Little East Conference tournament titles. Beacons, of course, taking it last year, as the referees signaled to Melanie Fida that we're all set to go, and to Elizabeth Glavin that she can come in for Julia Murphy. Beacons looking to get their 6th sweep of the season here in this set, as Christina Elliott will get things underway. As always, folks, before, during, and after the game, check out the UMass Boston Beacons social media accounts. Keep up with all your favorite UMass Boston athletes and athletic squads as they continue what should be a spectacular 2016-17 season at UMass Beacons at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Elliott set things up here, and Eileen Shee, awkward play there as she didn't get any of it, and Carissa Smith was able to just send it right into the back of the Beacon zone. Colleen Cohn tries to settle down her teammates. It's 1-0 Colonials here in set 3. Now, the Colonials did have a 2-0 lead in set 2 that they squandered. So we'll see if the Beacons can stem the tide early in the third, as this one is off the mitts of Cortez, but no one at home up front as Kaminsky and Dam were there. And it is now 1-1 here in set number 3. Eileen Shee set to serve, and Eileen sends it far side, dug out there by Cortez. Meanwhile, here's Smith delivering a crushing blow to the right of Eileen Shee as Carissa Smith continues to do what she does best, register kills. It's 2-1 Colonials. Beacons have won 6 of the last 7 Little East Conference titles, as this one is out of bounds off the left hand of Fida. And just as it was in set 2, an early 2-point lead for the visitors from Danbury, Connecticut. Dug out there by Glavin. Off the service from Kaminsky, as that one's and a great attempt to dig it out there by Kaminsky, but she was unable to get there, and the Beacons have trimmed the deficit to 3-2. And Glavin will get her first service attempt here in set 3. Elizabeth, always with those soft serves over the arcing net, and a great dig attempt there, but Kianko is unable to get low enough to keep it alive, and that trims the, or rather explodes the deficit to 4-2. So Carissa Smith, who's really struggled from the service area today, folks, will get another opportunity. This time she does keep it in. Kianko keeps it alive, and a brutal smash there from Julia Murphy as she continues what has been an outstanding and historic career here on Beaconville as she cuts the deficit to 1. It's 4-3. Pepper Baker is in. Christina Elliott is out. And so you have Fida and Murphy as well as Gibbs up front, with Baker serving and Glavin and Kianko also out there, as this one is kept alive on a beautiful dig there by Glavin. And then Alex Gibbs just tries to send it over with the open palm, and now she digs it out with her forearms. Great play by Murphy, the right woman at the right time, as usual. Julia Murphy ties this one up at 4 with an overhanded layup over the netting. And the Beacons have gone toe-to-toe yet again with the Colonials. These two teams picked to finish 1 and 2 in the Little East Conference standings, and based on non-conference outcomes, there's no reason to think they won't finish otherwise. As here's King sending it near side, but too much on that one, as Kamara sees her team now trail 5-4. Of course, if the Beacons win this set, they win this match as they lead 2-0 coming in here to set 3. Here's Pepper Baker with the service, dug out there by Cortez, and a vicious spike attempt by Dam is kept alive by Glavin, and then Melanie Fida does it again. The freshman sensation lifts the Beacons on her shoulders, and it is now 6-4 UMass Boston. Here's Pepper sending it over, and it's dug out there by Smith. Kaminsky able to find King, who finally is able to register that kill here in this set, as she sends it right between both Baker and Glavin. It's 6-5, Beacon still out on top. Service here from Weyerbeck, and oh my goodness gracious! Julia Murphy with no regard for human life as she slams that one down between the trees in front. And my goodness, what a play by Julia Murphy, the senior and exquisite leader for this Beacon squad, as this is kept alive momentarily for King to send it near side. Baker keeps it alive with a beautiful dig. She is blocked down in front by King, and now King's going to have to set things up here for Cortez. Fida sending it towards the front of the net. A beautiful set there for Murphy. She can do it with the howitzer cannon. She can also do it with the deceptive drop shot, as the Beacons and Julia Murphy are streaking here in the third. They have scored 4 consecutive times, and a timeout on the court with the UMass Boston Beacons leading their rivals from Danbury, Connecticut. It's Beacons 8, Colonials 5, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Back to action here in set number 3. UMass Boston leading 8-5. And ooh, looked like Fida whiffed on that one as she grins to her teammates. She knew she missed an opportunity. She's been outstanding from the service area today, so you can't have too much fault with one error for the freshman Melanie Fida, as we see Jenna Scarrett served things up here. Trailing 8-6 are the Colonials. Kaminsky setting things up for Cortez, and a nice block by who else? Julia Murphy, as Glavin digs this one out. Baker fakes the setup for Murphy. Instead, it's Eileen Shee. And was that deflected by the net or by a player? They're going to say it was deflected by Cortez up front for the Colonials. And the Beacons have extended their lead to 9-6. Sarah Doyle, the big 6'2" forward up front. She has been an incredible setter for the Beacons this season, as we see Julia Murphy, who's been incredible throughout her 4-year career, serve this one. Ooh, and Julia's going to need rockets in her sneakers to get to that as it sails out and over the walling out behind the Beacons zone into the left side of the Beacons bench. So point for the Colonials. And service coming up here for Canuck. Oh, and getting crossed up was Fida, but she was able to get it to Baker, and Gibbs was able to pound it home. Unable to dig it out there was Scarrett, and the Beacons are into double digits now. It's 10-7. Elliott, after Alex Gibbs' phenomenal play there, will spell number 3 in black. We'll also see Colleen Cohen re-enter the game. So up front, it's Doyle splitting Cohen and Shee. The libero is Glavin. I think that was it. It was! What a beautiful ace for Christina Elliott. As Elliott delivers for UMass Boston. She sends this one right on the lip of the lining on the far side. And the native of the Evergreen State stands as tall as an evergreen amongst her peers in the service area. And again, 2 for the price of 1 for Christina Elliott as Cortez is unable to keep it alive, and the Beacons extend their lead to 5. It's 12-7. She'll try to make the third time the charm, will Christina Elliott, as this one is sent over the netting, just tipping the front of it. Meanwhile, Elliott able to fake the setup for Doyle. Cohen slaps it down, but a good defensive dig there and unable to get it after a good effort from Fida is Eileen Shee, and snapping a 4 consecutive point-scoring streak by UMass Boston is Katie Cortez and these visiting Colonials of WestCon. Digging this one out off Cortez's service was Fida. She saw her attempt dug out by Cortez. And Cohen will dump this one down as Scarrett tried to tumble down to make the play. Unable to dig it out, and it's 14-8, UMass Boston. So serving this one is Shee. Dug out there by Cortez. She'll get the pass there from her partner in crime up front, Kaminsky. And eventually this one does come out of bounds off the grasp of Fida. And the deficit trimmed to 4. It's 13-9. We'll also see a substitution as Michaela Kianko will come on in for UMass Boston to give Eileen Shee a break. And Kamari King, the sophomore from East Hartford, will give Jenna Scarrett an opportunity to hit the bench next to Don Ferguson. So here's Danielle Kaminsky. Her service is kept alive and sent to the near side by Cohen, and confidently so. She pounds this one home, and the Beacons extend their lead to 5 again. It's 14-9. Of course, the Beacons looking to win their 8th in their first 9, and if they win this set, 6 of those 8 victories will be in straight sets. As unable to dig it out there was Kianko. It's now 14-10 with Carissa Smith getting the service for the Colonials. Stay tuned after this game. We'll have an interview with Mike Houlihan as this one's sent towards Kaminsky, and by way of Elliott, Murphy was able to get the spike, but it was blocked partially by Dam. The libero Glavin digs it out, and a beautiful play by Cohen rising above the netting as she shows she has incredible leaping ability and extends UMass Boston's lead to 16-10. At least it should be 16-10. They haven't changed that. Interesting. Meanwhile, UMass Boston service from Pepper Baker, and ooh, good play by Kianko to get it to Pepper. Pepper sees Carissa Smith keep it alive, and miscommunication between King and Cortez, and it is now 16-10. UMass Boston. Beacons, of course, trying to complete the sweep in straight sets. This one dug out here by Canuck, but it's sent right back from whence it came by the young freshman phenom, Melanie Fida. And we will get a timeout by Western Connecticut State. The hours are numbered as they are down to mere minutes for the visiting Colonials. They trail 2-0 in sets, 17-10 here in set 3, right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Elizabeth Glavin out there with her club, and Elizabeth coming into today at least, needed just 50 digs to become the first player in program history to record 2,000 in a career. As Pepper Baker will get set to serve, and Pepper sends this one overhand, kept in the air there by Canuck, and then she gets it from Kaminsky and sends it towards Fida. This time it's Murphy slamming an overhand spike, but it's kept alive there by Canuck. Meanwhile, Carissa Smith sends this one high into the air for Canuck to slam over the netting, dug out there by Murphy. Pepper Baker sets up Fida. We'll get a whistle as it was an error there, I believe, on the visiting Colonials. It will be, so a point to UMass Boston. And they are now just 7 away from ending this one, leading 18-10. Here's Pepper Baker serving from the far side. Kaminsky sets up King, and a nice play by King, but an even better perseverance play by Fida as she was on her way down from her leap when she made contact, and then the freshman sensation is phenomenal again as she sends that spike between the defenders in the back of the Colonial zone. It's now 19-10, another kill for Fida and company in black. So here's Pepper for the third consecutive time, looking to deliver for UMass Boston. Going down to one knee to make that play is Canuck. Meanwhile, Kianko to Baker, sets up an opportunity for Gibbs, dug out there by Smith, near side Canuck. Good block there momentarily by Fida. Baker keeps it alive. Glavin for Kianko. That was their final touch. Meanwhile, here's an opportunity on a soft tip pass from Kaminsky for Dam. But Dam could not send it home, and it is now 20-10, UMass Boston. So you came into play today thinking the Beacons at least should have the edge because the Colonials had to play in Rhode Island against Salve Regina less than 24 hours ago. But on paper, these two teams, at least record-wise and success-wise, were good matches, as this one's out of bounds off UMass Boston's Melanie Fida. It's now 20-11, and service will come to Weierbeck and the Colonials. But all things considered, the Beacons have taken the reins from the very opening serve. They won set 1 25-10, won set 2 25-18, and now lead set 3 20-11. As Carissa Smith with a nice spike off the mitts of Julia Murphy, and it's now 20-12. Again, you are watching the 2016 UMass Boston Beacons volleyball team as their season continues to be covered here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. I'm John Skudras. That was Melanie Fida tumbling over like a tree in the forest on a good effort on the near side. As we get a timeout, Terry Condon. 3 consecutive points here for the visiting Colonials, and UMass Boston's veteran coach wants a moment to talk to her club. Beacons will try to finish this one off when we come back. It's 20-13, UMass Boston on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Go Beacons! Let's go Beacons! Let's go Beacons!
Come on, Jake. As usual, she wins it. A chance in front. Her shot is in the net. Crystal Layden. Yet another goal.
Please make a gift to the Beacon Athletic Fund today. We want you on our team.
UMass Boston trying to close things out lock, stock, and barrel as they lead 20-13 here in set number 3. Glavin digs it out on a beautiful serve. Fida coming all the way to the near side, and what a play by Melon Kianko as she sends this one near side, but Michaela, after a beautiful play by Michaela Kianko, sees this one trickle out of bounds. The Beacons, again, handing a point over to the Colonials as they've trimmed the deficit to 6. Weyerbeck serving, and that is a poor unforced error there from the freshman. She's known for a defensive prowess, and that's a reason why as we get a substitution. Eileen Shee in here for Kianko, and a great effort there from Michaela on the last play. Meanwhile, here's Fida serving to the far side, dug out by Weyerbeck, and the spike there from Canuck is denied by Pepper Baker. Gibbs sends it far side, dug out there by Smith. This is another setup for Jacqueline Canuck. And that's a little bit too much on that one, sent far side, almost took Terry Condon out as the Beacons now lead it 22-14. Faya again as Melanie sees this one dug out by Weyerbeck. Carissa Smith back towards Elizabeth Glavin to dig it out. And ooh, that one eats Alex Gibbs alive. Great play out front by Canuck. Or rather by number 22, that is Katie Cortez. And now 22-15, the deficit, as Scarrett will send this one towards Glavin to dig it out. And Murphy, that is an indefensible play. There's nothing you can do, as she just rose above the trees and slammed it home. And just like that, the Beacons are nearing match point. Dug out there by Weyerbeck, far side for Katie to send it over. Deflected partially by Canuck. Now she will send it far side for Murphy. Baker for Shee. Soft deflection right on in. And just like the doctor ordered, Eileen Shee delivers again, and the Beacons can win this match in straight sets with a point here. They lead 24-15 here in set 3, and who else would you rather have serving but Murphy? Deflected by Scarrett, tipped alive here, and Canuck keeps this game alive for the moment as it's sent over far side, deflected by Scarrett. Cortez, Smith sends it over with an overhand serve. Murphy looking for Gibbs, and it's kept alive with a dig there by Smith. Here is Cortez sending it far side here for Murphy. Eileen Shee for the win, kept alive by Cortez. Smith sets it up for Canuck, deflected. Shee can't get there, but Pepper Baker can. Murphy near side for Gibbs, sends it over open palm, and then here's Canuck to slam it off the hand of Murphy, and this match will be kept alive after a beautiful volley from both squads, with the score now 24-16. So service now will come over to Canuck and the visiting Colonials as they will try to keep their hopes alive here, as slim as they may be, as this one is tapped up in the air there by Shee. She'll get it by way of Doyle, and there it is! Oh, let's see what they say. There is a stoppage, and they're going to say a foul on Eileen Shee for making contact with the netting. And so that just keeps this one alive for another moment as the score transitions to 24-17. Canuck now with another opportunity to serve, and that is an error. I believe, no, they're going to say an ace there for Canuck. And just like that, 2 for the price of 1 for the visiting Colonials. It's 24-18. A few nervous faces up here, still plenty of time. Beacons need just 1 as she will keep this one alive. Pepper Baker for Eileen, and she ends this one with a vengeance as UMass Boston delivers a victory for Terry Condon and the faithful here on Beaconville. The final 3-0, 25-10 in set 1 and 25-18 in both sets 2 and 3. When we come back, we will have a look at the final statistics and an interview with assistant coach Mike Houlihan. The Beacons improve to 8-1 on the campaign and 1-0 in the Little East Conference. The final 3-0 is their 6th shutout in 9 games, or rather 9 matches this season. We'll be back on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles, the he shoulda had that's, and the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Welcome back to the post-game show here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. I'm John Scudris, along with Beacons assistant volleyball coach Mike Houlihan. And coach, now 8 victories in your first 9 matches here in 2016, building off the LEC tournament championship a year ago. You came into this one against the team that was picked to finish second to your first here in the Little East Conference standings to begin the year. What were your expectations going into play today?
I mean, going into play, we just wanted to kind of start conference play off with a good start and make sure that we really got going because we have a tough week coming up. Conference is important, and I think we just had to start off strong.
Absolutely did. You got off to a very hot start, one set, 125-10, and were able to build off of that momentum. How critical do you think getting off to a hot start was as well, because WestCon had to play less than 24 hours ago against Salve Regina?
Yeah, I think today we didn't play as well as we could have. I think WestCon was tired. They had a tough match last night, missing a couple of starters, and I think we kind of benefited from that a little bit. But I think we got to play a little bit better than that if we want to continue having good starts throughout the year, and I think we just had to bring it a little harder tonight.
Absolutely. Still a 3-0 win, your 6th shutout in 8 victories this season, so you guys have been taking it to your opponents. Now, you guys lost a couple of key contributors from your championship squad last year, but you've replaced them quite well. Sarah Doyle, Melanie Fida, they have been absolutely critical in getting a lot of minutes out there as their freshman years continue to progress. Say a little bit about the freshman squad that you have and how excited you are to have them.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have them. They really came in this year ready to compete for spots right away, and they've done a great job, and I think they're filling some pretty big shoes from last year. But the good thing is, though, they're just leaving it all out there. They're playing as hard as they can. Our seniors are really leading us this year, and I think we're off to a good start, and we just got to keep going.
Absolutely. Success can sometimes be contagious. How important do you think the program that you and Coach Condon have built over the last many years contributes to the continued success and the continued success in recruiting as well?
I just think it all kind of carries over. One thing that we preach here, though, is that past success doesn't dictate future success, and I think they're just not taking that for granted. They know we have a good history, but each year's a new year, and I think they're working hard every day to earn their wins this year.
Each year's a new year. Each match is a new match, and the Beacons have plenty to go here in 2016. We hope you'll join us the rest of the way. Coach Houlihan, go enjoy the win with your girls. UMass Boston, a 3-0 victory over their rivals from Danbury, Connecticut, the Western Connecticut State Colonials. When we come back, we'll have highlights of this triumph and a look ahead at what lies beneath the future schedule for UMass Boston. I'm John Scudris. This is the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
2-2 pitch swung on and missed.
Kyle Strowski from Agawam, Massachusetts. I'm a senior here at UMass Boston. I'm a marketing major. Probably have to say my favorite moment was my no-hitter my freshman year. Being a freshman, especially just making a statement right away. Seeing the reactions on the seniors' faces, it was something that was a lot of fun to be a part of. If you want to play and you want to compete for championship every year, definitely UMass Boston is a good place to come look at.
And now, this one's launched, right center field. That's going to win the game for the Beacons. It is down.
LEC is probably best division in college D3 baseball in the country. Play against the top competition every year. I think we have a top 10 schedule in the country this year. So we're young, but we also mix in with a good group of junior college transfers. Being on the baseball team here at UMass is a good experience, great experience. Only about 2% of people can play college baseball. and one that I'll take for me for the rest of my life.
Kyle Fields fires the first great scoop from Jason Cho.
This area today, folks. We'll get another opportunity. This time she does keep it in. Kiyanko keeps it alive, and up for Baker with the service. Dug out there by Cortez, and a vicious spike attempt by Dam. Service here from Weyerbeck, and oh my goodness! Interesting. Meanwhile, UMass Boston service from Pepper Baker, and ooh, good play by Kiyanko to get it to Pepper. Pepper sees Carissa Smith keep it alive, and miscommunication between alive. Pepper Baker for Eileen, and she ends this one. So UMass Boston improves to 8-1 overall. They have continued to take the reins and dominate their opponents. Of their 8 victories, 6 have been 3-0 straight set triumphs, and they'll look to continue their dominance over New England opponents on Tuesday when they get set to host Tufts University right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. That one will get underway around 6:45 p.m. Coverage of that one, that is. First service scheduled for 7 p.m. right here at Clark Athletic Center Gymnasium. Meanwhile, the visiting WestCon Colonials will have a chance to take a breather. They played 4 games this week, and they'll have a week off again before they take on the Plymouth State Panthers next Saturday, as you see the Beacons' upcoming schedule, Tufts, MIT, and then their second big LEC matchup against Eastern Connecticut State. As always, continue to follow Beacons Athletics action. Keep in touch with your favorite athletes and squads at UMass Beacons on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. You can catch highlights of this 3-0 victory over the Colonials on beaconsathletics.com or at UMass Beacons on YouTube shortly after this broadcast. So as we continue along, let's take a look at the team leaders in this Beacons triumph. As you look, the Beacons now 8-1 overall. Colleen Cohen led the way for all players with 9 kills on the day. Julia Murphy's hitting percentage dwarfed Carissa Smith's, who led the way for WestCon, 625 to 238. Doesn't get more disparaging than that for Western Connecticut State. And then, of course, you see Christina Elliott with a big day as a playmaker, 13 assists. Elizabeth Glavin with 15 digs. And who else but Julia Murphy, 4 blocks. And Melanie Fida, one of the phenomenal young freshmen that Coach Houlihan was just speaking about, led the way with 3 aces, all 3 of them coming in that spectacular 25-10 first set victory. As always, I do want to thank our production team that made all of this possible. Our producer, Seth Arensky, our directors, Anthony Searles and Alex Carasoto. On replay, Rachel Mayette, and the cameramen, Steve Consiglio, Josh Lopez, and Sal Frascino. For everyone involved in the broadcast, I'm John Skudris. Good night, good luck, and good volleyball. We'll see you next time right here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.